Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Wednesday and you know what that means? It's time for another Wednesday walk. I just finished my first day of teaching in person at the school and the weather today is just really looking great. With spring here, the farmers have started getting the rice planted around here. Being in the city does make me forget sometimes that I am in a rural area. If I just bike 15 minutes away, I'm going to be right in the middle of a rice field. Back home in the US when they plant corn and soybeans, they have equipment that plants the individual seeds into the ground. And here in Korea, it's done actually quite a bit different with rice. In the months leading up to the planting season, what they'll do is grow the rice in a greenhouse. They've got these massive ones that they can grow quite a bit of stuff in, and they use these rectangular planters and picture right here. When the time comes for them to plant the rice, farmers have these special attachments on their tractors that allows them to attach these planters on them, and then they can just put them into the flooded field. Earlier this week, I did finish the lessons with my 6th grade students. It's been really good to see most, if not all of them, improve over the past few weeks, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if we can continue that momentum going into the classroom when they're back in a couple of weeks. So the way that the class is going right now, today was the first day for the 1st and 2nd graders. Before the students come to school, they're queuing up in line outside of the school, and the teachers are taking their temperatures before they're let into the building. For us teachers, before we go to lunch, we're supposed to self-take our temperatures. Each of the classrooms have their own digital thermometers so that we can kind of police it. If there's any issues, like if we start to feel fever or something like that, then we report that to the administrative office. In the classrooms itself, we brought down some desks so that they can be spaced out a little bit more evenly. Today there was only a few students because I think most of them forgot that we were starting the after-school program today, so that wasn't really an issue. In the past, what I've done with a lot of my after-school class, we'll have a lot of hands-on activities where I get the students coming up to the board, practicing writing. Sometimes they'll read in front of the classroom. There will, of course, be different English games that we'll do. But at least for now, I have to keep the students in their chairs. They're not supposed to be getting up, moving around. Them and me are supposed to keep our masks on during the entire time. I still try to get the students involved. Today we did do some games that didn't require them to get out of their chairs, so we did kind of like a matching game on the board. So there's different stuff that you can do with PowerPoint and different videos and stuff to kind of keep the students engaged. And a lot of the planning that I did go into in the months leading up to right now, I have had to adjust quite a bit of it. In the months leading up to right now, I have been planning for different lessons, and of course I've had to change those. The core lessons themselves, I'm still trying to focus on that, but a lot of the activities I've had to rework or scrap altogether for now, and just kind of looking up resources online, talking with some of the other English teachers that I know, and just kind of finding ways of keeping the students engaged. That leads us into the next part, where a lot of the schools are really reluctant right now to bringing in new teachers from overseas. COVID-19 has changed the entire world right now. There's no doubt about that. I know with Epic and Talk right now, Epic closed on the 25th, I believe. Right now they're not accepting any more applicants or anything, and the next time that they're anticipating spots being open will be next year for March 2021. So if you are looking to get into teaching in the public school setting, come fall, you're going to want to make sure that your documents are ready and everything so that when they open up the spots on there, you can get your application submitted right away. Because these do come on a first come, first served basis on part of the aspect, and then also your qualifications as a teacher. If you've never taught before, that's okay too. The program that I'm in right now, Talk, is really geared towards newly graduated students, along with students that are wanting to take a gap year after their 2nd year of uni. It allows you to come here for about a year, teach the students, learn about teaching, see if that's something that you want to pursue. You have a mentor teacher that kind of guides you along. You have weeks of training when you first arrive. So it's a really good program to get into if you're either unsure if you want to teach, or you're brand new, want to make sure that you're getting trained and you have some experience before you move on to Epic or Hagwon. Epic, on the other hand, is geared towards people that have their 4-year degree It's really good if you have your teaching certificate, because then you don't have to do the TEFL certificate requirements. Some universities do offer TEFL programs, teaching English as a foreign language, or TESOL, teaching English as a secondary language, all those different acronyms. TALK can also fill in for that TEFL requirement if you do a year in TALK and then you move on to EPIC. So that's something else that you can do as well. Even though applications are closed right now, some of these documents that you'll need come fall when you're applying for the 2021 school year, you can actually get started right now so that you have them in place so that you're not having to be running around trying to get them all. So one of the items is going to be your letters of recommendation, either from like a previous professor, job place, something like that. Can speak about your strengths and why you would be a good fit for the program. Especially with professors, you don't know what their schedule is going to be like, and with a lot of the schools being closed on campus, you're mainly going to be communicating with them by email. But these letters of recommendation, you do need to get originals in most cases. Getting the originals and the whole logistics of getting them to you, that's going to take some time. You're going to have to be patient with your professors and whoever else you get your letters of recommendation from. You may even want to offer to pay for the postage or whatever to make it less of a burden on them, because they are doing you a favor. Another thing to check right now, especially with you not being able to travel too much right now, is to make sure that your passport is up to date. At least for EPIC and TALK, in most cases, they want you to have at least a year and a half left on your passport for visa purposes. Your contract's gonna be a year, and then there might be you might get a little bit of gap to where you can get your stuff moved out and back to your home country. A lot of the embassies right now are closed to in-person appointments, so for right now you're going to be mailing in applications to get your passport renewed. If you don't have your passport yet, now's a very good time to get that process started as well. It's going to be very similar depending on what country you're in. And in terms of your education documents on there, for EPIC you're going to need your bachelor's degree, and that's going to be the same with any of the Hagwons. You're going to have your bachelor's. TALK is the one exception to where you teach for up to 2 years without your bachelor's degree, as long as you've completed 2. So with your bachelor's degree, when you submit the documents, you're going to need what's called an apostilled copy of your diploma. I'll just talk a little bit about the process that I had to go through. Bear in mind that it's going to be a little bit different depending on the country and state that you're in, or province, depending on what your country has. So for me, I was coming from the US. I was living in Illinois. First thing I did was contact my university. I went on their website and saw the requirements of what I needed to do to get a copy of my diploma. For mine in particular, they did have an option for getting notarized copies of my diploma, and they even offered to forward the information to the Secretary of State's office to have it apostilled. I was on a little bit of a time crunch, so what I had them do was, after they completed the notary and their part, they sent the documents to me, and then I physically drove down to Springfield to get it apostilled at the Secretary of State's office. That may not be an option for you. I know in the US, some states, they don't allow in-person apostles. Later on the website that I have, there will be a link to all of the different places for getting your apostle, what the requirements are and everything. So I'm getting all that information together. So on the apostle, they'll make a photocopy of it, notarize it there at the university. And then what you do is take that, or Illinois took it to the Secretary of State's office. They put this kind of golden seal on it, apostolizing it, saying that yes, this is an official document or a copy of a document. I ended up getting 2 copies because you always want to have a backup plan in case like one copy gets lost in the mail or it gets damaged or destroyed. So it's always good to get a couple copies. Usually it's not very expensive. It's only maybe $5, $10 extra. Right now with COVID, you're going to have to mail a lot of this in, so just bear that in mind and get it all submitted in a timely fashion so that you can have it all ready for you. Transcripts, same thing. Most of these places, either public schools or Hagwon, they're going to want sealed copies of your transcripts and have your university mail them to you, and then usually they'll have some kind of either stamp or something showing that it was sealed and say that's a tamper-proof one. Usually they want you to have a copy of it sent to them like via email beforehand, before they get all the documents. So it's always good to get an extra copy above what they require. So I would say probably 3 copies of your transcripts so that you have 1 copy that you can open up, photocopy it whenever you need to, have it for your own personal records, and then the 2 sealed copies. Most of these places are also going to want to have some kind of criminal background check. I would not recommend doing that right now because 1, it's going to be a timely process, and 2, it's very time sensitive. Most of them, they're going to say you need to have a criminal background check that's done as of this date. And if you do it before then, they're not going to accept that. So for that one, I would wait to closer the time where you're applying for either Epic or Talk or a Hagwon. Hagwons, they're going to be recruiting year round, but it's really going to vary right now because of COVID-19. When you come to Korea, you're actually going to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So some places right now, they may be hesitant to hiring people from outside of Korea right now. But yeah, once it gets to fall, things should hopefully clear up better. You can have a little bit more certainty. On my blog, I'll have a lot more resources on the whole process of applying for Epic, applying for Talk. Hagwons I'm not as familiar with, but I'm going to talk with some people that I know and make sure that I'm providing you guys with some accurate information. It helps me practice so that I'm a little bit more comfortable talking to you guys. This Wednesday walk was also a little bit different where I wasn't just walking. I decided to take my bike out and take that out to the Seawall so that I can check out the ocean. So it has been a few weeks since I've been out there and I didn't want to go all the way to the beach this time. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video or if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment. Like it if you did enjoy it. Subscribe so that you can get up to date on when the next video is coming out, which will be on Friday, hopefully. Go ahead and share this video as well so that other people can see it. I would greatly appreciate that as well. And until next time, this has been Harold with Sapphire Kids Who Travels. Teach, learn, and explore. Bye.